How's it going, everybody? Welcome to OP Entertainment. I'm Omar Darwish.
And I'm Pratik Cherian.
And we are back after a long-waited... I don't know what I'm saying. It's been a while since we've been on camera.
Don't blame us. Blame the lack of movies.
Yeah, exactly. But the writer's strike is up. Maybe the actors are up next. We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about The Creator, directed by Gareth Edwards, starring John David Washington. I didn't love it. We're going to go spoiler-free because...
Yeah. If we went spoiler, there's a lot to talk about in this movie.
We could have a deep dive discussion about this, and I could really get into the nitty gritty about like what I genuinely liked. But
we want to save it for you guys. I would say it's definitely a mixed bag for sure. I think, and you and I both agree with this, I'm pretty sure. But the cinematography of this, the cinematography and score are one of those things where even at points where the story's ebbing and flowing, that can paper over a lot of the mistakes.
I was saying this to myself while I was watching the movie. I'm thinking, wow, like the music will like swell up and you're seeing like this beautiful scenery, and like I'm thinking to myself, this movie is fooling me into thinking it's more than it is right now. And I mean, I know all these parts go into making a movie, so like it is what it is, but like I'm trying to break down how I feel about this movie. Okay. The first two acts are pretty good, if not great. The world building is the best part of this movie.
The world building is incredible. I really want like another movie set in this world.
For sure. Yeah. I like, even though I didn't love this movie, I can't wait to go back and see it just because I want to see, like, I want to be in this world again. I want to feel like I'm there again, you know?
Yeah.
And that's a feat, right? That's an accomplishment. Like, I feel like the last time I felt like that, or I felt like the public felt like that, was with Pandora and like James Cameron, like the first time around, the first Avatar. You remember when everyone was like, oh, I want to live in Pandora, and like I just want to go back and like be in that world? That's what this feels like for me. So I feel like this is gonna be a box office hit, honestly.
It ought to be.
It should be. John David Washington, for me, is kind of the weakest part of this movie, and he's the lead, so that's probably why...
I disagree.
I get it. I know I'm definitely in the minority here, because I think everybody is praising his performance in particular, and just, like, this movie. This movie has a lot of great aspects to it. It just, for me, it's so original. It has some great concepts and some great, like thought-provoking scenes, and then it just kind of becomes, like, little by little... very unoriginal, like very tropey and very 80s, 90s.
I don't know about tropey.
Sci-fi action. Yeah. I'm like, okay, I'm like really invested in what's going on, and it's like, oh, okay, we're gonna introduce this plot line that I've seen 1,000 times. It's fine because it's the only unoriginal thing so far, sure. But then like again and again and and every reveal and every revelation is just the most obvious thing in the world. I'm like, okay, well.
I guess my thing is yes, there's a lot of things that happen in this movie that you kind of see coming a mile away because you've seen it before. But I don't think it necessarily takes away from the enjoyment because, you know, those movies are classics and people go rewatch them for a reason. Yeah. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think, to me, the weakest part of it is the world building is so strong. But because of that, some of the other than John David Washington's character, I don't have a ton of character motivations for the other characters in this. And I think that
there's one character that's incredible, but is it a spoiler to mention this character? I don't know how much of that. I haven't seen any trailers for this. Is it a spoiler to mention like the main character of this movie?
It's not a spoiler because it is in the marketing.
Okay. So. There's a child in this
It's literally in the poster.
Sure. Yeah, okay. There's a child in this movie, and she's incredible. She's the emotional hook to this movie. The emotional stuff for everything else just didn't land for me. I don't know.
Again, it's one where we can't discuss it without going into spoilers, so we're not going to. But it's specifically her motivations that I really, really felt. Yeah, I'm like, I need her fleshed out a little more.
It does suck because the stuff I liked the most, I loved about this movie, I can't talk about.
Yes.
Right?
No, that's very, very true.
And all the stuff I can talk about are the not nitpicky, but just like, I don't know. This movie gets to a point where it's just like visual noise and mess for me, and I just kind of found myself like tuning out. Like I was almost not falling asleep, but I was really just like. At the point where I was checking my watch, like, all right, when are we going to wrap this up? Because I want to get to the conclusion because I feel like this has got to really nail this conclusion, right? And it just doesn't. I don't know. This movie just never got into that, like, next gear that I wanted it to get into. It starts, and it's because of what you're saying. Like, the world building is so good. The cinematography is so good. The score is great. And just, I loved everything that was going on in the first two acts. And then it just kind of loses itself. And they're like, oh, we've got a really good movie here. Yeah. We don't know how to land this. Let's just be as safe as possible and give them everything they know is about to happen.
I mentioned this to you before we started filming, but it really felt like after two acts, they were just like, oh, we could save stuff for the sequel, and then weren't sure they were going to get a sequel. And so the third act feels a little rushed. Yeah. I'm with you there. There's a big set piece to kind of end the second act that feels very much feels like it came from Rogue One or is Rogue One inspired
Yes.
for obvious reasons.
Yeah. Same cinematographer.
And director.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing because it's great and that like really stands out. But I think after you have that, like,
but it's not what the first
high,
2 acts of this movie are setting up, though. For me, like I felt like this movie was setting up like a very heady think piece, like thought-provoking movie, and then it just kind of turns into like. I don't want to be harsh and say like Jupiter Ascending or anything, but like it just turns into just your bang boom laser sci-fi that's just not. I don't know. It's not. It's like it started off being like the high concept sci-fi I love, and then turns into. I don't know the bad parts of Interstellar, if that makes sense. Like I can't really explain it. All I know is I do want to see it again. So if that means anything,
I mean, and that says something again.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm. Because yes, there is that aspect of like, okay, we started here, we're ending here, but that's where again the way it's shot and the way it sounds and all of those technical strengths come into play. Where I think it could have been better, but I enjoyed it all the way throughout. I thought it was a good movie. I would definitely recommend it. As I was watching it, I had like 3 friends in mind where I'm like, oh, they'll love this movie.
yeah. I mean, I loved a lot of it. It just I don't know. It forgets itself like somewhere along the way and. That was really a bummer for me. I do want to see it again though. Yeah. I don't know if this was necessarily like overhyped. I know people are loving this. I get why people would love this. I just feel like I don't know.
Even like with all of that, it is still probably like the best sci-fi movie of the last 5 years.
Okay, well
maybe that says more about sci-fi movies in the last 5 years, but
I mean, it definitely had the potential to be. I just feel like it didn't nail it for me. I obviously think Dune was better than this. I felt like Blade Runner 2049 was better than this.
That's not in the last 5 years, though, is it? When did that come out? 2017?
Yeah, you're right. So but even still though, like it felt like they were barking up the same tree for a lot of it, and then I don't know, it just like didn't.
One other thing that bugged me, which again is going to feel. It's not going to feel nitpicky because it's actually a problem. But Gemma Chan's character, without going into like spoilers necessarily, they gave her nothing to do.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
It's very, 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 very stereotypical. We're going to make this character, and her whole reason for being a character is to motivate.
It's motivation. Yeah.
Which it's like. It's 2023. Can we stop doing that?
I mean,
have we grown just a little bit?
If we want to be nitpicky, this movie has a lot of big and little asks that are just like, well, that doesn't logically make any sense. Like, this isn't a spoiler at all. There's a scene in kind of the beginning where they get to a base and they're asking everybody how to get to this like certain door, like how to get to this place, and all of a sudden the character just goes, I wonder if I twist this statue and then boom, it opens this.
Oh, no, you missed something there.
Did I miss something there? I don't think so.
You missed You did. I'm not going to explain it because it's.
I don't know. Okay, even if I did, there's a lot of things in this movie that are like that. That's all I'll say. Where it's just like, why would this happen or why would that happen? And it's like, okay, well, whatever.
Yeah. All right, fine. I don't know. I have much more to say. Do you want to score it? Or you have any other comments?
And I don't really have anything else to say. I really do feel like I want to see it again before I give it a score. But for now, I'm thinking. I'm leaning on like a 7. I think it was like a 7. It was pretty good. The great sci-fi stuff I got to see on screen is enough to elevate this movie to a 7 for me. But all the reasons I said before, I just feel like it loses itself. It's very unoriginal for how original some of it is and how thought-provoking some of the dialogue and scenes are. It's interesting how bad some of the dialogue and scenes are and boring, quite frankly, in some scenes. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with an 8. Mm-hmm. I think the movie was great. John David Washington was excellent in it. I know you disagree, but I really enjoyed
the emotion
him.
out of him that I feel like he's capable of. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think for a movie that's sci-fi and there's a lot of CGI in it, it still feels so real.
Shot on film, you think? It looked like it.
Maybe I'd have to look into it. I didn't actually read that. Maybe so.
It felt like it was shot on film. I couldn't tell. It didn't seem like it was digital.
I don't know. It just it felt so real that it kind of reminded me like over the last like couple months or years where I've complained about the amount of CGI that's in movies, and this is one of those where I'm like, oh, this is it done right because it still feels real, and the CGI is there to just bring the vision to life.
Subtle background CGI. It was good,
but it looked right. But it's still so grounded, which I really appreciate. I'm like, this is what I want. Please just give me this. Yeah, and it was great. You're right. The story lacking at points, but overall, I thought that it gets you to buy in, and then it's able to hold you all the way through. Even at
I would
those
say
points,
so.
like whenever you drift just a little bit, it's pretty good at pulling you right back in.
it-
The movie moves like from scene to scene pretty well.
I agree with a lot of what you said, other than I think it does lose me pretty significantly in the third act for the rest of the film.
I just think that third act is a little short, and so that kind of helps.
Yeah, it's underwhelming.
Yeah, but it helps keep you there. Because,
Sure, yeah.
But all right, that's fair. You want to take us out?
All right, guys. Well, we'll see you next week. I don't know what we have. We got a movie, right? That's something.
That's what we
we'll
said
see you
last
guys.
time.
We said that last time was a few weeks ago, so who knows? We'll see you guys.